Hey everybody, how you all doing? Sir Stevie here, bringing you a new Modern Warfare video. In the video today, everyone, what I thought I would do is I just bring out a little tips and trick video, and basically this is going to be just a little bit of a guide, tutorial thing to help you get better at multiplayer mode. As we all know, multiplayer has been, like, for me and I think quite a few other players, it's been quite a bit of like a shock to the system, I guess you could say, what with Modern Warfare dropping, because in the sense of it's not like every other Call of Duty multiplayer. This multiplayer feels a lot different. The gameplay feels a lot different, the maps feel different, and just the overall general mechanics, movement, that sort of thing of the game feel quite a lot different. It feels a lot more slow paced, it doesn't feel the same as any other Call of Duty, so I feel like coming with this, it also means we've got to adapt the way we play as players. Before I just get into the tips, I'd just like to thank you all for choosing to click on my video. It really is appreciated. What with me being a smaller content creator, it means a lot to have new people clicking on the video each day, that sort of thing. So if you're new around here, please feel free to hit the subscribe and like button. It'd be really massively appreciated. Let me know in the comments if the tips have helped you below as well. Without further ado, let's get straight into the tips. So the first tip that I'd recommend for you guys, and this is one that I have always changed really on Call of Duties and I've been changing a lot lately, and it's basically your sensitivity. I feel like with this Call of Duty, the movement is a lot slower on this game as a whole, which is why I've upped my sensitivity. I like to play on quite high sensitivity myself. I play, normally I play on around about 9. Back in the days of Modern Warfare 2, I was an absolute shocker. I used to play on like a 2 sensitivity. It was really bad. It'd take me like a week to do a full spin, that sort of thing, but I've upped my sensitivity right away. I feel like it's making quite a decent difference. The only thing I'd recommend when you are messing around with your sensitivity is don't just go from like 4 to 12. If you've never done that before, if you played on 12 on say like an old Call of Duty or something similar to that, you might as well go ahead and do that right away because you're pretty used to it already. But if you've not really messed with your sensitivity before, I'd recommend maybe just upping it, say from 4 to 6, then get used to that for an hour or so, then go from 6 to 8, because otherwise you might just go from 4 to like 50, and all of a sudden, bang, you're finding it a lot harder, you're thinking this high sensitivity is not working. It's because you haven't given yourself time to adjust to it. But that's my first tip. I'd recommend just messing around with your sensitivity, getting used to that, and finding what works for you. There's lots of different people that say this is the best sensitivity, it'll win you every game, that sort of thing. And at the end of the day, there isn't one sensitivity for all, otherwise there wouldn't be an option to mess with your sensitivity, would there? If it was everyone used the same sensitivity, why would we have the option to change it? You need to find what works for you best. Moving into tip number 2, and this might seem stupid, but believe me, it's worked for me over the years. I started doing this around about a couple of years ago now, maybe, I think, or maybe even further than that, actually. Maybe actually further, around about COD Ghosts time. So that was a while ago. And this is taking vibration off on your controller. It might sound stupid, but at the end of the day, when you're shooting, you're not really feeling the effects of what, like, the vibration, you know, oh, it's meant to make you feel like you're in the game, that sort of thing. At the end of the day, the vibration's more of a hindrance than a help, because when you're shooting, the controller's shaking, which might put your aim off a little bit. I know it is only small things, but at the end of the day, these are the things that if you make a lot of small changes, it makes a big change to your game. So if you do make this small little change, I guarantee it should be helping you out. I feel like my aim's improved. I feel like I've become a better player since I changed this. So that's one of the tips as well that I'd recommend doing. Coming into tip number 3, this is sort of to do with your movement, that sort of thing. It's 2 little tips in one, basically, and to do with your movement. And this is basically, if you're an old school Call of Duty player, one thing that you'll be used to doing either yourself or used to people doing to you is jumping round corners and then shooting you. It's an old school Call of Duty move similar to drop shotting, that sort of thing. And basically, it doesn't work on this Call of Duty anymore, trust me. I've been trying it, having no success, and I was using it in Black Ops 4 quite a bit, that sort of thing. Jumping around cover, that sort of thing, just to get an edge on your opponent, because of course, your opponent isn't expecting you to be a couple of feet higher in the air than they are themselves, that sort of thing. So it kind of throws your opponent off, but it doesn't work in this Call of Duty. Because this Call of Duty feels like it's going a bit more like a Battlefield approach, that sort of thing, it kind of feels like if Battlefield, Rainbow Six Siege and COD had a kid, this is the kid that they had together. And so you never see people do it in Siege or in Battlefield, and it kind of works with this as well. You can't jump around corners. You jump around a corner, it messes with your movement, your guy isn't as mobile, that sort of thing, so he can't move as well. So I don't recommend jumping around corners anymore. Another point to do with the movement as well that links in with this is double sprint. Double sprint is your friend, but as soon as you get anywhere near, say you're playing domination and you get near B flag, you know that's right, I'm going to be running into more enemies now, or I'm going to be running into some enemies now. Don't use double sprint. It puts you at a ridiculous disadvantage. It puts you literally at almost like a full second before you can start shooting, and if your opponent was stood there with the gun ready, they'll just kill you no problem at all. It puts you at a ridiculous disadvantage, so I don't really recommend using double sprint. What I would recommend using instead, and I know it isn't quite as good and it isn't as quick as dead silence, even though this is only a limited thing, it lets you sprint quick and it lets you sprint sort of safely, I guess. You know, you don't have to worry about getting a ridiculous disadvantage in a gun battle. That sort of thing is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, what I'd say is don't use double sprint unless obviously you're right at the start. It's like a game of search and destroy and you're just using it for the first couple of seconds. You know you're not going to literally bump into an enemy 2 seconds into the round, that sort of thing. Moving into tip number 4, and this basically comes into the play style of the game and Modern Warfare as a whole, that sort of thing. As we know with this Call of Duty, it kind of steps away from the original Call of Duty roots, and you kind of have to, it kind of encourages a bit more of a reserved play style in this Modern Warfare game. As we all know, in the old Call of Duties, you could run and gun, and it wasn't seen as like a difficult thing to do at times. It was doable. You didn't need to be particularly good at the game. But on this game, it kind of favours a more reserved play style, whether it's with multiple objects there for you to take cover behind, or with the sense of being able to mount objects, walls, that sort of thing, to favour a more reserved play style. In that sense, I don't feel that running and gunning works the same anymore, especially when you consider the thing with people using double sprint. If you're running with double sprint and then an enemy is mounted on a wall, it really doesn't put you in a good position if you're the person rushing and playing in an aggressive play style. I'm not saying camp, but I'm saying just play a little bit more tactically. Don't just rush off into the enemy, that sort of thing. Try and move a little bit slower, check corners of buildings, that sort of thing, and it'll help you out a bit. Coming into the 5th and final tip, everyone, and this is one that I would just recommend. Again, it's down to your personal play style. Find the guns that suit you personally. Basically, what I mean by that is you'll see a lot of people saying, this is the best gun in this mode, this is the best gun in that mode. It's the best gun for that person using it. It's only as good as the person that's using it. There might be some guns that people absolutely love. There's some guns that people have loved in other Call of Duties and I can't stand them. You need to find the type of gun that suits your play style. Like I said, if you're a person that still loves to go out and rush opponents, you're probably best off using an SMG. If you're a player that likes a more reserved play style, maybe an assault rifle. You need to try and find a gun as well. Just say, for example, the particular assault rifle that favours you. It doesn't matter which one you're using, because at the end of the day, it's whatever works for you. Don't just listen to what other people are using and then just use it. I know there's some guns that are fan favourites. I don't think you can go wrong with some things like the M4. But if you're going with different guns, for me personally, I don't like the AK-47 this Call of Duty. I feel like the recoil is quite a bit of a nightmare. But it could be the one for you over the M4. That's what I'm trying to get across, basically. As I said, I hope these tips have helped you all out. If they have, please feel free to leave a thumbs up on the video, drop a like and subscribe. It'd be really appreciated. Thank you as always for watching, everyone. It's really appreciated. Have a great day. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye for now.